beginning of this day, I decided it was time to do some adventuring. First, stopping by the Pillager Tower just off in the distance that has been taunting me since the very beginning of this series. Along the way, I found some ruins right as I was approaching the tower. I believe it might be archaeology related because there was nothing in here and it's probably just set dressing. For some reason, the base Illager textures are completely broken. I am running a mod called Illager Invasion, alongside running the resource pack fresh animations. So I think perhaps that this resource pack is breaking with this mod. However, it's only with the base Illager models. For some reason, all the modded Illagers that are added are completely fine. I did try to reload this resource pack in hopes that maybe it would fix it, and it does not work. Along the way, I of course freed our friend the Iron Golem, and went ahead and entered the tower expecting more of a fight, but all I found was a lot of empty rooms and a chest with stuff in it that kinda sucked. Although I did get a couple of armor trims and a goat horn, so that's pretty neat. Still, no Illagers in sight, so I go ahead and free the LA while I had the downtime, and because they're stupid little dumb fucking stupids with their stupid AI, I hit both of them, so that makes me feel really good. I continue to scout the perimeter for foes, and I find yet another structure just down the hill. Looks like some sort of temple, maybe? I go down to investigate the structure, expecting a fight, and I do see that there are two skeleton spawners that I quickly dismantle before they have the chance to jump my ass, and still nothing. More garbage loot and another goat horn later. I also happened to stumble across another warrior-based structure just a few meters away from this temple, and I could not find the door. To make up for all the shit loot I found before, I found a lot of awesome loot, such as this Berserker helmet, which is a huge find because normally you would need netherite scrap in order to craft this armor set. I also found this diamond glaive and a rare warrior scroll, and this just had me straight up tickled. Sheep murdering spree! It's what I have on the notes. I promise I'm very well adjusted. More ruins, meant for archaeology with all the suspicious gravel and sand, and although this is cool and large and I'm sure I would find a lot of stuff, this is a mechanic I almost never use except for once, and that was when this update dropped. I also found an Illager campsite not too far away, and I'm just wondering what in the world has caused so many structures to spawn in this little tiny area. Like, I'm wondering if I should have installed sparse structures because, oh my god, like, this is just an ungodly amount of structures. Again, the chest barely had any goodies. However, the funniest thing was a map inside that literally points to the direction of an Illager tower, the one I've already found. Also an abandoned hut because, of course, there's another structure that does something in this vicinity. The chest had a diamond though, so that makes me happy. Right at the end of my run here, the weather decided it needed to give me the average experience in everyday Scotland. Went ahead and spent some skill points, went for some more melee damage because bonk good, extra resistances because am squishy, and not too far in the distance, I spotted a mutant creeper. This had me a wee bit nervous, but this didn't deter me, as I had made the decision I was just gonna go ahead and fight it. Well, that fight was a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be. What I was not expecting, though, was the zombie to try and jump me, nor to be absolutely jump scared by a goddamn creeper. All that out of the way, we can go ahead and pick up this mutant creeper egg, which drops a ton of gunpowder, which will be useful later, maybe. I've decided I've had enough of adventuring after all of that, and decided to head home, picking off some mobs along the way to earn a little XP and a little bit more skill points. And just remember, there's no such thing as an innocent sheep. Finally coming home after a long day, I go straight to bed because I am exhausted. following day, I put my helmet on this armor stand instead of the wizard stuff because honestly, a diamond helmet with thorns is just a little bit better. I spend my morning doing boring stuff like organizing my inventory and my storage, sorting through various items, blocks, and valuables, and I went ahead to experiment with the curtains from Cozy Home, and unfortunately, they are only designed for 2-block tall windows, meaning that these just make my current windows look absolutely ridiculous. Speaking of useless, I then threw away this map that I have no reason to keep. I go ahead and mount my diamond glaive on the wall next to my axes. And I chop up the lamb I collected to create mutton chops, a food item that's important to the Farmer's Delight mod. If you're vegan, I'm sorry, I'll blur this out with mosaics or something. Probably not, I don't know. I went ahead and crafted and mounted a frying pan as well, just for the overall decor of the kitchen, and I do think it helps bring things together just that little bit more. Go around and give myself a little quality of life by placing some pressure plates by the doors so I don't have to keep manually opening the doors while I'm inside because I am lazy. We spend a lot of time in survival, doing survival things, exploring, progressing, getting stuff, but I was starting to get that itch, that want, the need to start building things. Went ahead and created a chest for my valuables, putting them at the foot of my bed, removed all of my gear, tool, and items, and stashed them in there, emptying my inventory completely. I can't speak. Emptying my inventory completely, and I watched the sunset from my loft window before I went to bed one more time. Going into the next day, I went ahead and switched my game over to LAN so I can start creative mode and start building things. Today was going to be a big day of building too. I wanted to get some decorative things around the land and around the house kind of situated, one of them being a pond and the other one being a future location for all of my farmland. Starting with a bit of a warm-up build being the pond, I wanted to go ahead and create something nice and decorative nearby to kind of add a little bit of extra life to the base and something to break up all of the leaves and foliage by, adding water, which will eventually host more foliage. For those who aren't aware, the mod I'm currently using is Axiom. It's a very powerful mod that essentially turns Minecraft into a 3D modeling and sculpting application, and it's amazing. I've been using it since, its first iteration, 2 years ago at this thing, I think, at this point? Jesus. This mod's amazing. It makes the creative process run smoother and faster with a lot of convenient features, and it's worth trying out if you enjoy creative building on both large and small scales. For now, the pond will be left as is, as I wasn't quite sure at the time on how I wanted to decorate it yet. Thinking about it now as I'm narrating over this, we're going to add some things like lily pads, maybe some sea pickles, drip leaves, just obvious water-based foliage. For now, I will stick with what I have and what I know and just put more leaves everywhere because if you want things to look pretty, you just add leaves and it makes the brain go brr happy. That was cringe. Moving away from the pond and leaf spamming, it was time to begin the work on the big project, which was the farmlands. I was going to need to do a lot of terraforming and a lot of building for what I had in mind, starting by removing all of the foliage that was necessary for the land I wanted to use. After that, I would spend way too much time trying to smooth out the landscape and reshape the hills to match the desired curves I had in mind in my brain, and I am a man quite experienced with curves.
I know how to handle the curves like an expert.
Yes, everything I do in this game is much too specific and OCD driven. I need to be medicated, but have you seen the current state of the American economy? I'd rather eat pizza, to be quite frank. I was getting ready to start the actual building process when I found chimney blocks. I didn't know this was a block that I had. So obviously that means I had to go back over to my house right now to see how they would look with the chimney instead of this iron trap door monstrosity I had going on. And I loved the way it looked. It fit so perfectly, but I couldn't get them to produce smoke. I am unsure if they can. I hope that they do because they look super good. And it would be a shame if they didn't have smoke animations to go along with them, because I want to keep them, but I also want to keep the life that the smoke has. I could probably do the whole spiderweb smoke trick that, we used to do in 2012, but I didn't really want to do that. I want smoke particles. That's going to be a problem for another day, though. We're going to go ahead and pull out the trowel and get to work. Now, the idea I had for the farmlands is that I want them to have these tall walls of mixed textured blocks that match the same palette as the ruined tower connected to my home, stretching down all the way to the base of the hill where the river is and closing up around the hills up where the trees are, sort of resembling those cobblestone walls you might see around certain wheat fields and a staple of medieval building in Minecraft. However, I also wanted it to act as a security wall, as if to imply that this area may be ruins of a small city once before. Something I did not take into consideration was just how long placing each individual block like this would take, forgetting what I had said just a couple minutes ago about how convenient and fast Axiom could be when building, and I still opted to do the thing that was slower and very tedious. It was while I was looking at my progress so far that I realized this and figured there was probably a more efficient way to do it. I'm spending all this time trying to place every block by hand with the trowel when I could literally just create a smooth wall and texture it using the noise brush in Axiom. Do you see how quick that was? Ask my wife. I am known for making my own life that much harder for myself in every situation. Every day. Now that the hardest part of the wall is finally complete after like an hour of placing blocks by hand, I am now going around the perimeter of the wall to raise it up high enough to prevent entities from simply jumping up and over it on either side, adding in some thickness in certain corners and really taking the time to shape the wall as if it were some sort of ruined and forgotten structure. And I think it's all looking very, very good. As I stared down at my creation, I thought it would be pretty cool to have a road cut straight through the land, allowing me easy travel through here whenever I would need to harvest crops or access the rest of the land I've built on. After this, I had an idea. Since the wall is meant to portray the ruins of what may have been an abandoned outpost or town, I thought it would be cool if there was another identical watchtower attached to said wall as well. Using Axiom's copy tool, I selected the entire shape of my watchtower, moved it over, and aligned it with my wall exactly where I wanted it and pasted it there. After that, it's just a little bit of manual cleanup work to make sure the design stays consistent and flows well with the wall, and I have to say I am quite pleased. From here, I decided to create an outdoor staircase leading up to the entrance of the tower, keeping the arch from the original design, reshaping the land a little bit and experimenting with the trapdoor hand railing for the stairs, adding light sources, the whole thing. As much as I'm enjoying the wall so far, it felt like I needed to add a little bit of something. I thought it would be visually interesting to use some deep slate at the bottom of the wall to give it more of a worn, wet look. Since the stone naturally would be darker down at the water level, I feel like this gives it a bit more realism and charm. Obviously, we have to add some greens to the wall as well to get the pop of color and really sell the overgrown look I'm going for. After more leaf spamming everywhere, I figured some oak slabs would act well as little steps for the road. The color matches okay with the dirt path blocks and will really blend in once we get all of this wheat planted. This is more of a convenience thing and less of an aesthetics thing. I also decided to do the same thing with all of my paths connecting to my base. Eventually, I will be going around the entire farm adding slabs to all of the slopes, again hoping it makes traversal more convenient and that they will blend in with the fields of wheat. That way I won't have to jump up and down on each block and risk trampling my crops all the time. I added a fork in the road trailing to the tower because I felt like that made sense. Tower access and all that. And I know I keep saying it, but I'm pretty happy with how everything's going so far. Obviously gotta add the gates because, the high walls don't really matter if there's just a giant opening. And of course, the final touches gotta be the lanterns. That's it. That's all you're getting. Lanterns are very self-explanatory. They create light. If you are curious, Amendments allows you to put lanterns directly on the side of a surface, which should be at the base game. I don't know why it's not. After all of this, I was pretty burnt out on the building. Everything looked great. Couldn't be happier with how it looks. And so I went home cleared my entire inventory, went to bed, and logged out of the game for the day. Oof. Well, that was a lot, huh? Oh, I'm still lagging a little bit. Okay. So I know I'm really experimenting with my recording style still. I'm not sure how I want to like balance live commentary versus narration. I'm still really trying to figure that kind of stuff out. This is all very new. Hello, equipment. I have missed thee. Oh, go up. Let's put all this on first. In a very specific way, I want my stuff sorted, please. So I obviously don't need to go over everything too much with you. I have this little pond here that I made, which desperately needs some foliage. I'm just not sure what I want to do. And then the bulk of what I did was actually creating this walled off area for what's going to be the future farm. I'm going to put a lot of our crops here. This is either going to be nothing but wheat or it's going to be a bunch of crops. But honestly, I do like the idea of this all just being a wheat field, and then maybe we make other farms closer to the house, like for the tomatoes and rice fields. We can make rice fields later, since those grow a very particular way. And the reason why I didn't close this off is because I actually have something planned here that I don't want to spoil, because I think it's going to be really cool. Obviously, we've added to some lore here as I've went over, hopefully, in the post-editing. Like I said, I'm kind of winging all this as I go, so I'm not actually sure. But, so, like I explained at the beginning of this video, this will kind of showcase what I mean with the hybrid playstyle with the survival and creative mode. So, creative, I set up this area and got it nice and aesthetic, and now in survival, I'll do the actual progression bits to set up all the crops. I feel like that's fair. It's the way I like to play. And I'm hoping I'll be able to stick with this world a little bit more long-term this way. Axiom fucked that tree up. Phew. I've been at this for a little bit now. I wouldn't be surprised if it's been like yeah, so I've been playing for about 20 minutes, and sheesh, this is gonna be a bit of a big project, it looks like. So I'm thinking as the crops grow, we can fill out more and more of the wheat, because this is quite a lot of space, and I was kind of underestimating how much this was gonna be. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is a bit more of a task than I thought. But also, if I go anywhere, then these things are not gonna grow the way that they need to, so I'm a little torn as to how I want to handle this project. I mean, I could chop down some trees while I'm doing this so I can keep slabbing while waiting for crops to grow. Honestly, I'm really thinking like as more crops grow, I will harvest them and then plant them, and I can keep expanding the wheat field as much as I need to. Since I've decided all that is going to be wheat, I do need to figure out where I'm going to grow the other stuff. Excuse me, my god. Like, right here, I feel like will be perfect for the tomatoes. Like, imagine tomato plants just growing right up the side of the wall here. But also, speaking of the wall, we need some sort of back entrance, because the stables and front entrance is good, but while I'm working back here, I need a nice, quick, and easy way up into my base. And so I'm thinking we can plant the tomatoes around here, and maybe we can add an additional staircase back here. I think that would be good. I'm gonna do that. And we're gonna go ahead and just do this in survival, because that's not gonna be such an arduous task. Like, it should be fine. I'm thinking right there. You know what? I think it's time that we make a stone cutter so we can actually get some mileage out of our wood here. So it's 3 stone. All right. If you're wondering what this mod is, this is the Master Cutter mod, and it's phenomenal. Thinking something really simple. Really, really simple. cute. I like that. It's just like a nice little addition to the back porch area here. I think that's just, you know, it needs some sort of additional accessibility, I feel. This way, backwards. Yeah. That way it's kind of like, it shows like a little bit of separation there. I thought photosynthesis was going to be hella overpowered as a mending enchantment, but this shit is slow. It is so slow. Tomatoes will grow up rope. So I'm thinking if we do something like this here. What in the world? Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa! What in the world? I thought I heard something. I find it interesting the base pillagers are broken with the, like, whatever mod or resource pack I have on them. Like, I wonder what that is about, like, what's causing that to break. Lower this down one, which is fine by me. It'll fit really nicely in this little crack here. Now, I do believe it needs to be normal dirt. Okay. And this pond here should be enough, I think. No, it is not. We'll break that there. Oh, we will not break that there because that will end up flooding my basement, and that'll not be good. Okay, we'll put the water here then. That should be good, I think. Maybe. Perfect. Now, again, if I remember correctly, they should grow up the ropes, and that'll just be super cool. And look at this, it's a really nice, easy, simple design. It's not super complicated, and it's gonna look hella cute. Do something like that, and then... Yeah, look at that. It's okay. Yeah. We're onto something here. Oh, man, I love this. This is so cute. This is awesome. I love it. Oh, man, this base is really coming together. You know, this is also the first time in a long time where I've just decided to boot up Minecraft and, like, not really look at anything else anyone was doing, other than, like, you know, again, getting inspired by Flow State and finding a reference build. I mean, I say reference, I kind of copied this build pretty one-to-one. Aside from that, it's just been kind of nice to do whatever, you know what I mean? Like, not really think about it, just have a good time, put some stuff together, like get real creative with it, like just like this tree method. I'm sure a lot of people probably hate this, but I like it, you know. As someone who doesn't do custom trees very well, I'm okay with this. Looks a lot better from a distance, but you know, can't win every time. Okay, so as you can see, we have slabbed up everything. This is going to make traversing these hills a lot better, and the oak planks are going to blend in really well with the, like, rolling fields of gold that I have in mind for this area. Get off my land!